I have a question. Uh,
Yes, Mushtaq.
uh, Dr. Ismail, why is it that we witnessed that in most Muslim majority countries, including Turkey, if there is a kind of a Islamic revivalist movement or a scholar, like we have Fathullah Gulen, or in South Asia we had Dr. Fazlur Rahman and now Javed Ghamdi, but they couldn't survive within their own Muslim majority countries and have to take refuge or migrate to West US or some other places where they could propagate their ideology well. So, is it a problem with the Muslim majority countries, or is these Islamic revivalist scholars always in tussle with the regimes? Are Muslim majority countries not tolerant of these new novel ideas or interpretations of Islam? Because we witness it all over, every place. You take the name of Sayyid Qutb, he was sent to gallows.
Yes.
In other scholars, like presently Javed Ghamdi, he had to leave Pakistan. Earlier, Fazlur Rahman left in 1960s and did most of his work in US. So just I intend to know, in case of Fathullah Gulen also, why he had to migrate from Turkey to US.
I think these scholars are early samples of a revival, a real revival. The Quran, the main audience, this is out of topic, so I'm giving a lot of interpretation here. The Quran's main audience is Muslims. The Quran is not for non-Muslims, let's say. You read it if you think that is God's word, let's say. Mainly, I don't think you can read it, as a poetry or something as well. And if you look into it, the biggest warning in the Quran is not do not kill, do not do. It says that I don't have numbers in front of me. There are good statistic about what Quran says, how many times it says. But one of the biggest problem or issue that Quran warns us is do not follow your forefathers' religion. It always comes in the context when the Prophet is talking to mushrik idolaters, because they are following forefathers' religions blindly. Why don't you rethink it again? You see, like it was originally, their forefathers' religion was prophetic. It become broken. Why don't you follow the original thing, not your forefathers? Ibrahim alayhi salam built the Kaaba. Why do you fill it up with idols and this and that sort of a question? But if you think about it, why Quran would mention this? Because they are gone. For the rest of our lives, we read them in our prayers and we contemplate about them. Well, what does it tell me? I shouldn't follow my forefather's religion. Why not? My forefather was a Muslim, but he was Muslim for himself, not for me. I should establish a relationship between God and me reading my Quran, because he sent through a messenger to me personally a message to tell me that Ismail, I created you, for that matter, all of you, Muslim or non-Muslim, I created you as an autonomous ambassador. No one can touch you. No one can harm you. Your life is sacred and this and that because you're my representative. Now, I want things to be done in the world. Okay, here is the instructions. And instructions are things that you should do. They are clear, but also because you are representative, and if any problem starts, people raise their hands to pray me, it means you have to intervene and sort out. That is what an ambassador does, a vice regent does, isn't it? Like Queen's regent in India is India's ruler. In that sense, regent word is a king, actually. You are sent here to actually end the hunger, end the problems, make the world like a heaven-like place. And Allah reminded you this with a message and with a very precious messengers give you the thing. But we always take it as something someone else should be doing somewhere. So when they start trying to do something, they all often feel alone, not enough power, not enough support and stuff. So it doesn't turn into a big change. We keep following our forefathers' religion. Luckily, let's say you were born in, let's say, Kashmir or Deoband. Depends on where you're born. You have a specific way of seeing your forefathers' religion, and you're very strict about it. I have, and if you come to any town in Turkey, I will show you where it will be different than others. And you never think, why am I for, I have a message that have to contemplate and, read and try to understand and implement and change things. But we don't do that. And it's very hard to come out from that forefathers religion and thinking your own and taking matters into your hand. You are actually Allah's Khalifa in the world. You are supposed to stop that hunger and this and that. And so whenever someone comes up, Gulen actually in his youth, he is actually acting like he is the God's agent on the world. He has to do everything. He has to stretch out, go to, if people don't come to mosque, he was an imam and he was supposed to preach. But if they don't come, he would go to them, to stadiums, to coffee houses, to, in culture, almost to pubs, wherever people gather, he would go and talk to them, try to see. He would see students in need of financial help. He'll try to reach out some businessmen to support them. Then all those stuff grow and become a thingy. But we, as a community around him, let's say in Turkey, has seen him as this unique role that he is that response. We are not. We just follow. We just. But we actually have to just look around us and solve our problem. Listen in one ear what's happening in the next door if my daughter needs me, or like we have to intervene, just like a father, just like there is a lot of roles and responsibility. And I think that level of personal responsibility, moral responsibility, or individualism has not emerged. We are not ourselves as individuals see ourselves addressed in the Quran by God. We see that as a book sent to Muslims. It's not a book sent to Muslims, it is a book sent to all of individuals with a very valuable profit. And we have to read it for ourselves and understand and implement. There'll be a lot of mistakes. We'll benefit from previous interpretations. We'll benefit people who know Arabic better. We'll benefit from the historical context that it was given and this and that. But eventually we'll come to a point where, if you think about it, the Prophet, peace be upon him, used to have a lot of trouble understanding why people are acting this way and that and this and that. And eventually when it befalls on him, it took some time to grasp that idea, but then he followed it through as an individual. If he had given up, he wouldn't have what he has achieved. So I think there is a sense of moral agency we are missing. We should understand that it is not Fazlur Rahman's responsibility or Fethullah Gulen's responsibility. It is also Ismail's responsibility to see what he has, what Allah has given him. Let's say I have a PhD. Yeah, it's something under my belt. People call me doctor. That puts some weight in my words. Okay, then it means what can I do with that knowledge and title? I can share it, of course, and I can improve it and share it, and improve it and share it, and in the issues that I know and whatever. And in that way I can contribute because I am obliged to, as if like I have to protect all this knowledge and spread this knowledge. If I don't, Einstein said once, there is no actually evil in the world, it's lack of good people doing good stuff. Because we are not looking after poor people, we are not solving the hunger and everything, the people are starving. It's not because of Allah. Allah sent millions of people to sort all these problems. They're all looking at each other, and very, very uncharacteristically, I'm having this conversation with Gulen members, the movement members. I'm saying, how do you think this tribulation will end? Like, okay, Muslim world is a big issue. How these troubles in the Gulenist people are suffering at the moment will end? They say, Allah will sort this out. And I say, well, Allah sent a couple of thousands of people to sort this out as his vicegerents. Why don't you do it? Well, we are praying. Yes, but let's say you are praying to Allah and he's sending you back to action zone to sort all those problems, because Allah won't come down to sort out. He's not that, he's not your servant. If you ask him pray, he send his vice-regents, you don't expect British Queen to come and sort your problem. You write a letter, she sends someone, isn't it? She sends someone to do your plumbing or your roof or whatever you need help. The regent, the God himself won't come down. He'll send agents. And you are that agent. Why don't you solve that problem? But it's a time of crisis and shock and whatever. Not everyone sees themselves individually that important enough to be addressed by Allah. And once you And in the West, in a different way, for a different reason, people had to establish this importance of human importance in a different way because of the crisis, because of the kings used to kill people right and left and center and whatever without any this one. And eventually they fought back and get the Magna Carta, establish themselves as worthy beings that has to be taken to court, not killed like with the whim of the king and whatever, and then expanded it and expanded it. They don't give up, so they preserve their uh, rights and privileges and this and that. That's a different way. That's a way of understanding you are as a human important. But as Muslims, we should be actually seeing that we as individuals, I am as important as it can be because Allah sent a message 14 centuries ago so that maybe I will read it and act upon it today. But we don't see it. We actually put it slightly away somewhere else. Some scholars, some Muslim societies, some that's us, you know, that's human race, that's we. And very strangely, I'll say this because I'm thinking of this like the way people, like perceive Chinese people almost like subhuman in our mind. You see, it's irrelevant, but I see it relevant in a way that like people put certain things in center, but maybe you should put yourself in some issues at the center of the universe as if like everything is failing because you're not responding it. Okay, not other people are doing this and that and whatever. You see, when you dehumanize yourself, when you forget what it means to be a khalifa, a vice regent on earth, and then expect others to be that, and then the problems continue. And think about it as AI tests, Dynamo corporations created some artificial intelligence robots, like 20 of us, sent into testing zone, seeing how they are reacting and how they are perceiving. They're getting better and better and better and every day. But eventually they'll have to sort out all their problems. That's the idea of sending a vice regent into an area. If God has to come in and whip everyone into order, share the food among us and this and that, what is the point of sending all these human agents into the scene to bring the peace, to do God's work, to preserve what He has created and to make it even more beautiful the way He intended. So I think we are not seeing ourselves, this is in a nutshell, as important as we should see ourselves, as key. Gulen is suffering, let's say, because we are not taking enough responsibility in our shoulders. So as Uyghur people are suffering, so as other Chinese people are suffering in the same authoritarian regime, because we don't see how important we are and how important, how key it should be, how much it is needed individually, our contribution to solve all the world's problems. If we were to see, we might be 1%, 2%, 3% like then, but the more it grows, the more it will get better. But the more we place that responsibility on somewhere else, on some important scholar's shoulder, the more they will be left alone because it's their job. No, it's not their job. They are just like you and me, but they happen to know more about religion and they are implementing it. You may know more about computer. You may implement that and dominate the YouTube area with the positive videos, but you let's say all the racist people ranting and polarizing people because you don't produce something positive, and there is more negative out there, and it affects the whole quality of life. It polarizes people, and then we suffer. Why? It comes back to that moral responsibility of the individual, I think.